Hey, it's Carl Willis, and I want to welcome you to our live training this evening. I'm the owner of Simplicity Marketing LLC and the creator of the Marketing Classroom. And it is my privilege tonight to have my good friend and client, Dr. Ryan Muller from Muller Chiropractic and Spinal Remodeling with me. And as we talked about in the promo emails and the things you've seen on social media, we're going to discuss tonight how Dr. Muller has really built his entire practice exclusively using social media, in particular his Facebook business page. And so we're going to delve into some of the strategies and tactics that he's been using, some of the landmines and pitfalls that he's seen that he can help you avoid. And then if you've got questions that you'd like to ask, you'll see a place where you can ask those questions there on the screen. Put those in and we'll try and get those answered for you by the end of the call. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Muller and encourage you in the audience to take notes and be ready to pick up some great nuggets for your business tonight.
Hey, Carl, thank you so much. And I also want to, I feel like it's on us to warn these folks that you and I are good friends. I'm a bit of a sarcastic sense of humor kind of guy. So, just be prepared for that. But as we kind of launch into this, there's a couple of things that, I've been doing social media marketing back since the MySpace days. And, there may not be even some of you out there that are old enough to remember MySpace. But so that means I've been doing this for almost 14 years. And I can tell you for the first 12 years of that, it was nothing but mistakes. I didn't know what I was doing. And there wasn't really any templates out there, any skills or any experts out there to help kind of guide this process. And I do have to, give Carl a lot of credit. He's helped kind of mold and shape this process over the last couple of years. But one of the things that, that I have learned through all of that, all the pitfalls and all the mistakes is, social media at its core is a relationship tool. And it's not a business relationship tool. It is a personal relationship tool. And when you try to change that model to fit business and you aren't fundamentally changing, I think, the core philosophy behind why you're doing it, it really comes out. People can read that and they will begin to ignore you. And to give you one example, I'm not going to name any names here, but there's a business that I'm intimately close to. A friend of mine runs, and he hired a special person to do social media marketing. And often I'll ask this person, so how many interactions are you getting through the posts that you're doing? And she'll come back to me. She's like, well, we had 3 likes today. And I'm like, whew, that reminds me of 10 years ago on MySpace getting 3 likes. That's kind of how these things are measured. How many likes you're getting, how many people are actually commenting, how many people not just like your post, but share it. I mean, that's huge. And then is that translating over to them liking, your business page from your profile? So some of the big mistakes that I see companies like that doing is, they're just shooting out information, or they're throwing out things that are, attempting to be entertaining, but have no real connection to who the person behind the screen really is. And that's one of the things I want to encourage. That is the biggest mistake you can make in social media marketing, is if you're not planning on being real with it and being genuine and potentially developing a actual relationship with these people, you're not going to get quite the strength of the response. You're not going to build an audience, because these are real people and they're real time. The other thing is if you aren't planning on interacting in the comments, if you're not planning on being yourself, you're going to be this cut and dry block answer. You're not going to interject any of your humor, any of your philosophy, any of your core values. What people are looking for when they connect on Facebook and social media is they're looking for a relationship, a connection. They want to get to know you. And it's not until they get to know you do they trust you. And then once they trust you, then you can present to them some offer. And now it's not even a business offer. They're taking it in like you're doing them a favor, and they say thank you for that discounted offer, or for informing me of this information. So that is one of the kind of the biggest mistakes that most companies I see make. You can't treat this as business social media marketing. This is a personal relationship. Now, having said that, there is a very powerful way to bring your business to the table on social media. And, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have had anything to talk about this. It was just an idea that Carl and I started developing. Today, after doing this for a couple years and seeing the amazing results, being able to build my practice for next to nothing on marketing costs, using social media, using Facebook, and that Facebook is the main driver, and that leads into the LinkedIn, into some of the other things. And that also drives traffic to my website like you wouldn't believe. So being the big pitfalls, that kind of leads us right into, what is this core philosophy you need to have? And in a nutshell, that core philosophy is you want to connect to somebody and be prepared to even develop a real relationship with them. And it may always be a virtual one, but that's the day and age that we live in. I'll give you an example. My son, I walk into the bedroom and he's on the computer playing, and he's talking to like 8 different people from around the world playing this game. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Carl? And he's talking to these people like they're right next door, like they just got done riding bikes all day. And that's just normal to them. Us old guys, there's still something in the back of our mind that thinks this is weird. But that is the reality that we are entering into. This social media stuff is a new way to reach out and connect. And you've got to change your mindset, or at least be open-minded and allow for that. The other philosophical piece is you've got to bring you to the table. I mean, do you kind of agree with that, Carl?
Oh yeah, very much so. It's all about really letting people see who you really are and not just a representation of who you are.
Exactly. You're not a caricature anymore. Right. Now, whatever you see on Facebook, that is you. And if you are presenting a you that isn't really you, it's going to get found out. Bottom line. It's just a matter of time. And it's very hard to stay consistent with any message that you put out there if it's not a real message coming from who you really are. And that's why I also say if you're hiring someone to do this for you, that's got to be in that hiring equation. Is you need to understand who this person is, because they're going to be presenting themselves and their relationship with your business to the world in that fashion. You can't let them fake like they're you. But I also encourage, especially small business owners, it's a no-brainer. But as you get to medium size and larger, there has to be some part of who that company really is being presented out there. You can't let this thing become, simply a marketing message that people are interacting with. They've got to interact with a real human live person. So that's kind of the core philosophy. In my case, I'm a Christian, I'm a sarcastic, funny guy. I have good days. I have bad days. I get stressed out. I'm super joyful. I love to encourage people. I'm a father. All of that stuff, if you go onto my Facebook page, you'll see all of that. Now, of course, I'm not, airing out drama. I'm not going to put out there a bunch of stuff that's hyper controversial. I'm not going to, talk about, relationships that I have and the ups and downs of those. But what I will do is, I'll talk about what I'm doing throughout the day. And I've got an example here, if you would mind me sharing this. Here is an example of what goes on in my office kind of on a daily basis, and Carl can vouch for this. We have a lot of fun in my office. I've got a massage therapist here with me, and I want you to take a look at this. Here's my massage therapist, Becca Blaine. I'm going to try to scroll this down so you can see it. Here's my massage therapist, Becca Blaine, posting on her business profile. She snuck around the corner and took a picture of me while I was on break, using my roller table to iron out some kinks in my back. And she puts up a simple post, and this is her being real. He said he was going to do paperwork in his office, and I think he got sidetracked. LOL. Something as simple as that lets people know who you are. And then you come down here and you look, well, okay, now we measure this. How effective was this? We've got 26 people that commented on this. We've got almost 100 people that liked it. We've got one person that even shared it. I mean, the irony is like, what has this got to do with chiropractic? What has this got to do with molar chiropractic? What has this got to do with soothing massage? And it's because soothing massage is her. I am molar chiropractic. You got to see a little window into who we are. And you can see people eat that up like candy because they want to know who I am. And what that translates to is, I mean, when Carl and I first started working together 2 years ago, I was struggling to get one patient a week. This week alone, I have 10 new patients, and that's not even counting what may schedule tomorrow. That's just today. You know, we went from, what was it, like 5 to 7 patients a day, and now we're pushing 15 to 20. You know, so this thing's growing, and this is all off of just working social media. I've developed some genuine good friendships this way. And in fact, my massage therapist, I met her on Facebook, you know, and she and I have developed this great friendship and now business relationship, and we post that into the world. I guess I didn't switch that back over, did I? Thanks for the look, Carl.
Hey, that's what it was there for.
So that kind of gives you an idea of, you know, what this core philosophy looks like. There was one more I wanted to share, if I could, real quick. I think this one's really funny. This is my sense of humor coming into play. And when I look at this, you know, to me, this is just complete silliness. I'm not a narcissist at heart, you know, and taking selfies, I laugh at myself that I'm even doing it, but it gives people a window as to who I am and how I practice. Now you can see over here on the screen on the left, you know, there's my mom working at the front desk. There I am looking all professional at the front desk. But then you look at this picture in this post and it says, see what my massage therapist is making me wear. And I've got an elf hat and a goofy look on my face. And look at this when I scroll down. 86 likes, 1 share, 11 comments. Now you compare that to my friend who's got a thriving business just budding into the social media market, and they only get 3 likes maybe. You know, if you want to utilize this tool, and Carl will tell you, I mean, this is the absolute most economical tool to build your business if you do it the right way. So that's kind of the core philosophy, is being yourself, presenting your real self, being open to actually having a relationship with these people, whether that be a virtual one or even if it becomes a real one. And then that builds trust. If they like you, they'll want to do business with you. If they trust you, they'll continue to do business with you. If you do a good job, you've got them for life. So Carl, it kind of, you know, I talk about, you know, the strategy and the philosophy, but now the strategy is, you know, how do I do that beyond just, you know, simple little posts like this? Mm-hmm. And there is some legwork on the backside of this thing. It's not a lot. I think I dedicate about a good solid half hour every single day. And that good solid half hour, you know, I could farm out to really almost anybody because it's pushing buttons. And with Facebook, you got to be careful because they're kind of clamping down on, you know, businesses and how we use it. So we've kind of learned the hard way for you. So in the future, you can kind of move forward and not be banned off Facebook for weeks and months at a time. You're laughing because you remember the last time.
I do.
That was a long time ago. You know, we learned our lesson. What I've figured out is, you know, if you can use a combination of a Facebook profile that's dedicated to your business but representing you for real, and a business profile or a business page, those two can feed off of each other. You use the profile to develop a friends list. You get up to 5,000 friends there. Then you use that to drive people to like your page. Now, your page is where you're going to utilize some tools that Carl can set up and that he's an expert at doing. I let him do that part. But you can drive people to that page, and from that page, that's where I do most of my, when I send messages out, when I post something like the elf hat, or Becca posts something, about, where she's busting me on the roller table and trying to get everybody to think that I'm skipping out and doing paperwork, which was a total lie, by the way. But, you use that page as the main driver, and then that from the page, that post gets disseminated to other social media outlets. And then you can also get those interactions through there. But the profiles that's kind of like your lure. That's the thing you throw into the river. Because there you can actually actively go out and friend people. And you want to create a criteria. What I did is I look at, people that fit a certain demographic and are in Wichita and have a certain number of, related friends. So they're not completely weirded out about it. And then, I'll like about 10 of those a day. So far, 10 a day has kept me under the radar. Facebook hasn't messed with me for probably 12 months now. And when I friend those people, I send that out there. Within about a week or so, I usually get 2 or 3. Sometimes I get all 10. And when I get those friends that have accepted my request, I've got a kind of a cookie cutter little message that says, hello, thank you for subscribing to this page. This is my business profile, but at the same token, this is who I am, and I would like to get to know you. This is what my business offers. This is how you can contact us, and this is how you can schedule with me online. So, that little piece, that can be handled by anybody. Really, you're just typing in hello Bob, hello Carl, and then a pretty uniform letter there. But then when you get the interaction back, now that's when the personal stuff starts, because they'll often send back a big thumbs up. They'll say thank you, and then that's your chance to kind of say, hey, no problem. I just want to let you know I'm available to you anytime you need something. And, please stay posted, whatever kind of reflects your personality in that first interaction. I've even typed back, it's like, so please tell me, what do you do for a living? It's just like a normal, hey, I met Carl at the coffee shop. What are we going to say? We say, hi, so what do you do? What do you do? And I start that kind of conversation with them. And, so you definitely got to kind of dedicate a certain block of time. That's where my half an hour comes in. That translates to, on the other side of the screen on Facebook, you have this like column. And then I just go through there and, probably about once a week I go through and I just like a whole bunch and send those off. And then that's been building my like list on my page. So I think my profile, I have about 4,000 friends. On my page, I've got about 15, maybe 1,800 likes now. Mm-hmm. And that's unlimited. So at some point on my profile, I'll start deleting some people from the friends list that I don't interact with, or maybe not 100% fitting my demographic. And I'll make more room so I can continue to grow that. So that's one piece that you got to have, is that profile and that page interaction that's dedicated to your business activity. Another piece that we have is, and Carl's been wonderful about helping me set this up and make it extremely effective, is I spend about $150 a month on promoting my page. And let me tell you, that I use my personality in that probably more than anything. The last picture is, you saw it on the post that Carl made. It's me looking down at my table with a kind of a sarcastic grin on my face to say, oh, and it says, what's missing in this picture? Oh, it's you. Carl and I can't tell you how many people have responded to that. I mean, that thing has just blown up, and you never know what's going to go viral like that. And that thing has served us. I mean, we haven't even taken that down for 4 months.
Longer than that, probably 8.
'Cause, if you find something that works, you just let it keep working. And the key to that in my mind is, it was me. You're seeing me, being goofy, and inviting people to come to my office, and that has grown the likes. I think we probably gained 500 of those likes just from that one ad by itself. Some other pieces are, when people send, and at some point the synergy of all that is going to start wrapping around. I mean, I'll walk around town now and people think they know who I am because they read my posts. They say, "Oh, I love following your posts on Facebook." Now, me as a doctor, I'm thinking I have put maybe 5% of my brain, my expertise, my knowledge that could save somebody pain and suffering and could change their life and be healthier. I've only put 5% of that stuff out there. And yet the way they interact with me is like, I'm the greatest chiropractor since sliced bread, and I've never even met them. So this stuff is pretty powerful if you do it right. So getting back to, some of the strategies. So when people send me a friend request, I do the same thing, pretty similar thing I do is when they accept my friend request. I just change the wording a little bit to say, "Hey, thank you for friend requesting me." And then the same cookie cutter message that talks about who I am and who I really am. Another piece is birthdays. I mean, this is I think a really untapped piece that I don't see any business doing. And I've been doing this for about 3 months now, and I'm building an incredible list. And I've gained, dozens of patients from this. I'll click on that birthday thing, and I'll post a goofy picture. And it says, the funniest one I like is the one where I've got me doing a sidekick at the office, and it says, "Yeah, we're kicking the crap out of back pain, neck pain, headaches, and sciatica." And I'll send that out, and then it just says, "So happy birthday." I mean, that didn't even make any sense, but people love it. And it's, reflecting that personality, that goofy, that sarcasm. And then I put a little thing, it's like, "Hey, for me," and I'm, you want to make sure you're always kind of putting those links in there. So, "Hey, this is, Ryan from Muller Chiropractic and Becca from Soothing Massage. We want to wish you a happy birthday. And as our gift to you, here's a free complimentary treatment. Here's, 50% off an hour massage, to be utilized by this expiration date." And I'll tell you what, for something that I'm doing for free, that I'm gaining, 1 or 2 new patients from every time I do it, it's a no-brainer. So then there's that piece. Another piece that I've utilized that's worked really well is when somebody makes a comment. These comments that you see where I've got, one share, I always go to that share and I say, "Hey, thanks for sharing that." When somebody comments, I'm always looking for, how do I respond for real as Ryan Muller to this person making whatever comment. So the one lady on Becca's post about me slacking off and laying on the roller table instead of paperwork, she made a comment. It's like, "Oh, that makes sense. I always see Ryan doing that." So I get on there like, whatever, Now tell me that's professional. No, that is not professional. That is not what you expect your doctor to reply to. But you know what? That's what I would say to Carl if we're out having a beer together. And so I hope you're getting the idea that this is not business marketing media. This is really, truly social media. At least that's my opinion. And the success that I've had with it has kind of inflated my opinion on that to where I almost think it's a fact. But, you guys are more than welcome to go test that out and prove me wrong. So, Carl, kind of talk about some of the strategy that we've done with the page and what some of the results of that have been.
Yeah, actually, that's a great place to really launch off, because one thing you need to understand about the marketplace that Ryan is working in, there are a couple of hundred other chiropractors here in the Wichita market. So it's a competitive market. Everybody is out there going after the same audience. And so one of the things that was really important when he and I began working together is that we needed to create a unique brand identity for him, that he needed to be able to set himself apart from those other 200 or 300 chiropractors here in the city. And so social media really was the key to that, because nobody else was really using that. And the great thing was, he had already figured out that was a great place for him to go. And so his initial strategy when we met was, he was simply going out, just as he said, he was connecting with people in the local marketplace who fit the demographic that he was looking for, and he was sending them a private message and just introducing himself and saying, hey, I would like to connect with you. Now, one of the things that we cautioned you about a little bit as he was talking is what's called Facebook jail. And that's when Facebook thinks you're being just a little too aggressive with your friend-making process. So unfortunately, Dr. Muller spent a little time in Facebook jail, and we had to figure out what that real sweet spot was. What we really find now in actual trials is that generally you can connect with about 20 people a day, but you've got to spread that out through the day. And as long as you do that, you can generally stay out of Facebook jail. Now, Facebook will generally warn you once or twice that, hey, you're getting a little close, before they'll put you in Facebook jail. And what Facebook jail means is they won't let you send messages and friend requests for a period of time, generally 30 days. So part of this is pacing yourself as you go. Generally, what we recommend to our clients is that if you're going to use that strategy, you want to connect with about 5 people at a time, take a few hours away, connect with another 5, take a few hours away, connect with another 5, and work that process religiously. Now, that's something that Dr. Muller did very faithfully early on in his practice. And so even though it is a slow build, he's seeing the fruit of having built that relationship now for really the last 2 years with those who have engaged with him online. Now, the next thing that we needed to do, though, is we needed to increase the audience for him. And so that's where the advertising campaigns have come into effect. So we've set a $5 a day fan page like boosting platform campaign. And so what we'll do is, again, we're going to target his demographic, putting that on a $5 a day budget, targeting within Wichita in a 10-mile radius, people who have interests that are going to be pretty consistent with what he does. So we looked at people who have an interest in things like alternative medicine, organic eating, clean eating, non-GMO, people who do yoga, Zumba, CrossFit, Pilates, people who take their health seriously. And so we were able to create a demographic profile that we advertise into on a consistent basis. And so that ad runs month in and month out, $5 a day, $150 a month. It is some of the cheapest advertising that any business can utilize. And what that's allowed us to do is to expand his audience. So when we first began, he had already, just through making connections, built his audience up to about 250 to 300 people. By adding that paid advertising component on top of it, we've now been able to scale his audience up close to 1,700 people. And so it's given him many more people to interact with, many more people to connect with. And one of the things that's been fun is as his marketing person, is to have people come to me and say, hey, what's the name of that chiropractor you work with? Because, you know, being the savvy marketer that Dr. Muller's become, he tends to get me into the mix every so often. So this last week, he's got a picture of me in front of the Christmas tree, and we're bantering back and forth because the backstory is I came to him because my back was messed up. But then this summer, I decided to go do a confidence course and rip my left shoulder out of the socket. And so we've spent the last 6 months working on that. So his favorite thing, just a you know, kind of a side deal, is I go to his office 2 or 3 times a week, okay? And so he goes down into my shoulder and he starts digging around looking for scar tissue. And I told him when I first did this, I said, you'll know if I'm hurting because I'll start telling you jokes. And so that's been his thing, is he tries to get me to that point week in and week out, or get me crying, or, you know. Now as I've begun to heal up, I'm starting to outlast him some. So now it's become a competition. Who's going to say Uncle first. So anyway, we're discussing this online. So people see these interactions happening. And that's the thing you have to remember. The audience isn't always who interacts with you, it's who's watching. And that's one of the things we found quite often with Dr. Muller is people who have been watching from the sidelines and then begin to ask questions. It's fascinating to watch in his posts as people will start to ask him, do you treat this condition? Here's something that I've not found relief for. What could you do for me? And it's amazing because people feel like they know him, they like him, and now they trust him. They're willing to start talking about the very things that are troubling them right there on his page. And so he's able to already be pre-diagnosing, if you will, what that patient is going to need. So when they come into his office, he really is more prepared for that initial consultation. He doesn't have to go fishing for the information because people are readily providing that information to him. And so what we've really tried to look at strategy-wise is keeping it very real, letting people really get to know him because, again, he's in a highly competitive market. And so that personal touch becomes so much more important for what he does. He doesn't have just a captive audience. He's got to compete against people. Some of these chiropractors in town, quite frankly, they've been practicing since I was a kid. They've been practicing since I was 10, 11 years old. And so they've put a lot of money into the marketplace. They're well known. They've got name recognition. And so when he decided to open up shop, a couple of things that he did that were unique. He decided to open his practice right in the middle of town. Well, that's not where the growth in town is. And so it would have seemed like, well, gosh, is that really the best thing to do? But it's ended up being one of the best things he can do because it sets him apart. He's conveniently located to everyone. If you're on the east side of town, hey, I'm close by. If you're on the south, the north, the west, doesn't matter, I'm close by. Now, the other thing that we've done strategy-wise is he's expanded his services with Becca, his massage therapist. We've designed how we can work that in to his marketing. And so he's brought Becca into the marketing as well. And it's been kind of fun because Becca's kind of reserved and shy when she first meets people.
And why not utilize that as part of the, entertaining people?
Exactly. So he's constantly bringing pictures of Becca into it and helping her build her practice as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to screen share with you just a little bit and just show you statistically some of the things that we're doing with his page that may give you some insights into some things you can be doing as well. So just bear with me here a moment. We're going to change screens.
And while you're doing that, I thought, wow, what a great comment you made about that. Who is watching from the sidelines, and then how do they eventually interact down the line? You're right, Carl. That has been huge.
Yeah, it's just amazing to see really what takes place and how many people really are paying attention to things that you might not think they really were. And so here's what we're going to look at on his page. Let's present that to everyone. There we go. So a couple things we started looking at with his Facebook page. We wanted to kind of get a feel for his people, and one of the things we found is that his people are most active here in the evening hours from about 7:30, 7 o'clock up to about 9:15. Great time for him to be in there engaging. We also found that his people do the same thing late afternoon. Great time for him to be engaging. So it's allowed him to really time out when's the best time for me to be on interacting with my audience.
Would you mind if I interject a little side note on this too?
Yeah, please do.
One of the beautiful things about social media is that it's from my phone. This interacting that he's talking about that I do after office hours, I'm doing that every, maybe it's like a 5-second thing where I just jump on my phone, check, and I type a message back. And it's, that's how simple this can be and how quick it can be. And you're on your Facebook already doing stuff like that. Why not switch it over and do that, with your business as well and watch your business grow?
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that
reinforces the whole personal side of people are getting to know the real me, because they're like, oh my gosh, my chiropractor just interacted with me at 9:00 at night.
That's right. Yeah, makes all the difference in the world. And so there were a couple things we were looking at when Ryan and I first started working together. One of those was he was launching a new website. So part of what we decided to do with his page is we wanted to make it a central hub of everything that he's doing. So when you come to his page, one of the things we did is we've got a book now here. And if you book now, you hit the button here, we'll do the test. It actually takes you over to his website where you can schedule online. And correct me if I'm wrong, but probably a large majority of your people are doing that. Am I correct?
I would say it's close to 80%.
Okay.
Do it from their cell phone or from the computer. Yeah, 80% of the people, I wake up and I come to the office and I'm like, oh, well, look at all those people that just scheduled today.
Exactly. So really, he's been able to automate some of his process here. It's one of the things that's been helpful to him as a starting practice. He's not always having to be on the phone to schedule people's appointments or in front of the calendar. It's done for him in an automated way. Now, the next thing that I want to show you, this is actually some of his traffic, and I'm going to back this report out a little bit, so we can look at a larger time frame. So let's get in here to a custom time frame. And let's just take this back a year.
And I'll be honest, I haven't done this yet, so I'm kind of fascinated to see what this is going to look like.
All right, so we're going to take a look at his year stats here. And here's the thing that I want you to see. So director, people who've seen his business cards, seen his signs, things like that. Google's number 2, so he's ranking on the search engines. But number 3, mobile Facebook. So when we talk about people using their mobile device, that's what I want you to see. That's the number 3 highest traffic source that he has. You come down here a little further. Number 8 is people on their laptops, desktops who are coming off of Facebook. Okay. Come down here, number 10, these are people on iPhones. And yes, if you didn't know that in statistics, we know what device you're on. So these are Android users, these are people on their home computer, and these are people on their iPhone. So Facebook accounts for 3 of his top 10 traffic sources in the last year. And if we look at the total number of unique new users coming off of that, 957, you've got 152 here, you've got another 100 here, so nearly 1,200 individual users have gone to his website strictly coming off of Facebook. That's the power of Facebook. And so those are the things we want to see. Now, what gets kind of interesting as well is when you find out, well, where do these people go when they come to his site? Back to what I was just showing you, you're going to see that the mobile scheduling or the online scheduling is number 2 and number 3. And the only difference between schedule now and schedule now is if they put a hyphen behind it, or excuse me, a slash. It's just how they come into the page. Number 2 and number 3, 1,700, almost 1,800 individual users have gone to schedule at some point over the last year on his website. So that's the real power that I want you to understand, that we're not just talking the marketing side, but we're even looking at this from an operational standpoint. That from an operational standpoint, people are coming here, they're seeing the content, they're engaging with it, they're liking, they're sharing, they're doing all of those things. See, there's where he drugged me in right before he went and cranked on my shoulder for a while.
I have to say, part of the reason why Carl's in this picture, besides how good looking he is he doesn't normally dress this nicely when he comes to my office to torture him.
That's right.
That moment.
We've been discussing lately that my wife is real happy that I'm starting to class up a little bit. So that's part of it. Now, the other thing that happens here is people are able to leave their reviews. And so if you look, he's got 5 stars on 30 reviews. So people are coming, they're saying what their experience is. So I want you to understand from a prospect standpoint. So I'm out here, I keep seeing Dr. Muller, I get into a car wreck or I throw out my back, whatever it is, and I'm like, hey, that guy I always see on Facebook, let's go look at his page. Well, now I start seeing all of these reviews. Everyone is a satisfied customer. So I like what I see about him. I feel like I know him. He cracks me up when I read his stuff. But when it comes down to what can he really do, he's got great reviews, and I can schedule my appointment online. I don't have to pick up the phone. I don't have to go look for his phone number anywhere. All I have to do is click the book now button, and I'm on his calendar and ready to go. And so he's really got a very, strong ecosystem working on his page. Other thing that I want to show you about his page, his average response time is 2 hours. So again, people realize that he is somebody that they can talk to, and he's going to respond to them. He's not going to leave them hanging. He's not going to leave their questions unanswered. And so again, it builds that issue of knowing, liking, and trusting. Is he the provider I want to use? And when you put all those things together, it creates a very powerful presentation for those who are engaging with him. So a couple of other things I want to show you real quick. So for a user coming along, they're going to look here, they're going to see that he has a 100% response rate, that he doesn't leave people hanging. They're going to see he's got 1,656 likes. He's added 10 this week. He's going to see that 222 of his connections of his fans were here. So he's getting good engagement. So if I'm just looking around, is this the guy that I want? I've got a lot of information here. I've got a map to his office. I've got the phone number. I know his hours. All of that information is right here for me. And it makes it so easy for me to get involved with him and to become a patient in his practice. So that being said, I don't see any questions. So Dr. Muller, do you have any other things you'd like to throw in there? Well,
just one last little note. Years ago, as part of this trial and error, I developed kind of a what do they call it? It's not a monogram, kind of a catchphrase that kind of envelops this idea of how to communicate with social media. I call it the tickle, tickle, touch technique. Now, Carl's got his own word for it, but, mine fits my personality. But what that means is, when you interact, you're going to do one of two things. You're going to be personable, or you're going to be entertaining. And that's just a reality. And you've got to, so you got to know that you're going to get on there and you're going to entertain them your way, not my way. This whole sarcasm, humor thing, that's just me. That's because when people come in here, and if I'm not the same guy on Facebook that I am here, then what does that tell you? Oh, this guy's a sham, So you got to be yourself, because when they finally interact with you or your company, they're going to know. The next thing is when you entertain them, when you are personable with them, that communication has to be genuine. But the touch, that part's also important. Carl was talking about, every now and then I'll post out there, hey, I've got some appointments that are available tomorrow. And the irony is like in the past, I would get a typical 2 to 3 likes, and this was, years ago. Now when I do it, because I've done the tickling aspect first, where I've gotten to know them, now when I post that, I get 50, 60, 70 likes. I get a couple of shares. I've got people that are genuinely my friends, and they're helping me grow my business on their Facebook pages. You want to talk about some exponential growth. So, and then, so basically that's kind of the model that I follow is I entertain, I personally interact. And then maybe at the most once a day, I'll put out, here's how smart I am post. Here's some technical data about health that, I know that I can disseminate to the masses that show I actually have something going on upstairs other than putting on an elf hat. Then I'll also put out, and even the touchier stuff. Now it gets real touchy on social media when you start advertising, and it's not the little box off to the side that everybody has already grown to accept as an advertising column. When you advertise on Facebook, it's got to be from the position that I'm your friend letting you know. Carl says, hey, I'm free for breakfast right now. You want to meet? And I say, hey, thanks for thinking of me. It's not like Carl's having to sell me on the idea to come have breakfast with him. And that's the way, people will receive it when they are your friend. And, and that friendship thing cannot be faked. I'll just flat out say that. As much as it would be easier for both Carl and I's business than it could be, that's something that we emphasize is that, you got to be pretty genuine here. So the tickle touch technique is what I call it. I use that all the time. So other than that, I've kind of, Carl and I plan on kind of working together and putting together an actual, like what I call playbook that could be, utilized in your office as a guideline. And if that's something you're interested in, definitely be in touch with us because we're going to develop that and prepare that. And this was kind of a launch for that idea. Because, like I said, Carl and I both, Carl's made a whole business out of this. I see it every day as I interact with businesses and with people that, very few are doing this in a way that's getting this kind of result. And, this was kind of our proving ground this last year and a half as to, is this concept really going to work or does it just sound like a great idea? And I'll tell you what, as you saw, it's worked wonderfully. Literally, I spend maybe $300 a month in advertising, and I'm growing my practice better than if I was spending $5,000-$10,000 a month in other venues. So that's all I got to say. I really appreciate everybody who did tune in and listened in, and I appreciate Carl. What a great guy. He gave me some time tonight to get out here and kind of share this and talk with him and let you guys know about this. And if you guys are looking for somebody to help you with developing your business, man, Carl is hands down the most wonderful, personable guy that you can tickle touch with.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Well, a couple of things. Number one, if you'd like to contact Dr. Muller, his website's there, MullerChiropractic.com. Definitely get on there, get in touch with him, become a fan of his page, and leave him a message there. That's the best place to connect with him. He'd love to visit with you. And if you'd like more marketing training, not only do we do consulting at simplicitymarketingllc.com, but we have a full suite of online training products for those of you who are doing it yourself right now. And our core product is the Marketing Classroom. And I've just changed that up to where you can take a 14-day trial run at it for $1. So I want to encourage you to do that. Visit themarketingclassroom.com. Not only do you get all of my knowledge on video tutorial, but I'll jump on a live webinar with you just like this one every week where you can ask your questions and let me help you through the things that you're working through. So with that being said, be on the lookout. We are going to develop a social media product for practitioners, chiropractors, dentists, veterinarians, and others who are in highly competitive health-related fields. And so that'll be coming out probably this spring. So keep your eyes out for that. Thank you for taking time out to join us, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great night.